Hey, good morning. My name is Kelty, and welcome this morning. You know, it's funny, one thing about humans is they tend to be incredibly resilient and very adaptable. And as I was sitting in the back this morning listening to Alessandra and Adam sing, I realized how I have gotten used to not hearing live music and not being in places where live music has been played, whether that's at a concert, in a bar, walking through a hotel lobby, and a musician is playing in the corner. And it kind of startled me. I was like, oh, yeah, I haven't heard this in a really long time. And here this morning, we got treated to essentially a little mini concert for the last 25 minutes that has been just pure delight. I have a couple of suggestions if you are kind of like me. One is, for those of you who aren't here and are at home, if you're interested in signing up to come down and partake in a live service, you can receive that music live. It's great at home, and that's normally where I listen to it, but it's really good when you're here. The other option is Adam and Alessandra. They're like a band that leaves here and does band things together, and you can hear them play on all sorts of music streaming services, and they just had a new album that they launched before Christmas. They are known as Too Late to the Party. Sometimes it's TWO, sometimes it's the number 2. Either way, you'll find them on all your favorite music sources. So if you feel like checking them out, please do that. The other reason that I'm standing up here is to really give you guys thank yous. This church is completely funded by the graciousness of the people who attend here. And so I would love to thank you for continuing to support Friends Church and all of the things that we do. If you're interested in learning more about how to support Friends Church, you can go to the website. There's a donate button there that you can click, and that'll give you a bunch of different options that you can donate. Either have a standing donation on a monthly basis, we call that pre-authorized giving, or a one-time donation. Also, too, if the website's not for you and you happen to be here in person, we've brought back the envelopes, and they're sitting at the back of the room, so feel free to fill those out and slide your donation in there. Have a great Sunday, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Kelty. Good morning, everybody. Feels like a nice, mellow morning, doesn't it? We were just saying the other day that sometimes 4 songs is lovely, but by the 4th song, you're just getting into it. 6 is just a nice amount. So thanks again for doing that, you guys. Physical self-care. It's pretty easy, right? Just take a nap now and again. Don't do anything strenuous. Bob's your uncle. We're done for the day. Have a good day, everyone. Nothing? You guys are just so chill. I'm going to tell you a wisdom story from the Christian tradition. I studied the Bible, went to school to study the Bible. There's this beautiful story in it that ties to Christmas. Remember, the series we talked about leading up to Christmas was all about the stories around Jesus, particularly the birth of Jesus. And it was written quite a bit later at a time when they were just under incredible stress. I called it their phase 2 lockdown. Kind of like us. It's not a moment of stress. It's weeks and months. For them, years, probably generations. They weren't free to move around the way they wanted to. They weren't free to do the things that they thought were important. They were occupied by another group who made sure that they couldn't do the things that they loved. And the stress on their bodies just climbs and climbs. Then they have a moment of hope. They see someone that they call the Savior. That's the word. Jesus, the Christ. The Christ means someone who's going to save our butts. Sounds good, too good to be true. And so you can imagine the moment when they're sitting there thinking about the stress of their lives, the freedoms that they've missed, and they're looking at this character, this person, Jesus, and saying, you will save us, only to have Jesus be murdered in front of them. Hope gone. Freedom, that moment where you're like, when they lift this lockdown, I'm going to hug every one of you 3 times, whether you like it or not. I am going to stand close to people in the grocery aisle, like right beside them. Like, how are you doing? They have a moment where they're planning for the future. This is going to end. It's going to be beautiful. And then that person who was going to save them is killed. Oh, I could just feel it in my heart. Hopelessness. And the reason I tell you this story is this beautiful line written by an author we call John. He's writing about the characters in the story, the students of Jesus who are looking through the lens of hopelessness now, wondering, what the hell are we going to do? I talked the other day, 2 weeks ago, about this idea of energy. There's a metaphor that we have 3 bowls of energy. First bowl is kind of just the easy in, easy out. Get to the top of the stairs, after hiking up, you stop. I don't know if you're like me, you bend over, maybe put your hands on your knees, huff and puff for a few minutes, and then you're like, okay, whew, good to go. First bowl of energy comes out easy, recharges easy, usually in hours, maybe days. But if the world needs something more of you, if your life needs something more, if there's more pulling from you, you start to pull from this second bowl. And this energy doesn't come easy. You have to will it out. We'll say things like, I got to buckle down. I just got to push through this next section. Finish this degree. This project at work. Homeschooling. I just got to buckle down. That's bowl 2. Once you drain bowl 2, it usually takes weeks to recover from that. You know you're in bowl 2 when you start saying things like, I need to go away for a couple weeks. A good night's sleep's not going to recharge this sucker. And if you have that bowl 2 energy draw, that buckle down, and it happens for weeks and months and years at a time, you start drawing from the core of who you are, your soul. It takes months or years to recover from this. When we say, my soul is tired, I am exhausted to my core, we're in bowl 3 energy. Students of Jesus have been pushing against lack of freedom for their whole lives. It's taken everything they can for their whole life. They are exhausted to the bloody core. And then the character Simon Peter says the most profound thing that I want to share with you today. He says this line in this hopelessness, in this exhaustion, in this soul-draining moment. He says this beautiful line, I'm going fishing. Anyone who says there's not wisdom in the Bible clearly has not read that story. Isn't it beautiful? The rest of the guys look at him. Yeah, I'm going fishing with you. Let me come back to that story in a second. I told you guys a while ago I used to run a lot. For a while I was really into really long running races. We're talking like 28 hours long runs. And to do a run like that, first you have to be stupid. Got that? Check. Then you have to keep track of everything in your body for months and years. You have to know every day, how much do I need to work out? How much do I need to eat? How much recovery do I need? How am I feeling? How am I not feeling? You measure all of this. I have these massive spreadsheets. Every morning I'd wake up before I moved, I'd check my heart rate. Your resting heart rate is a measure of your recovery. If your heart rate's too high, it says you haven't had enough time off. You can't push. And the whole point of training is to push. And so every morning I'd wake up and I'd check my heart rate and I'd write it in my little spreadsheet. 62. Ooh, not good. 57. Okay, we're doing good. And so when you do this, you create these beautiful graphs of what you can accomplish. This was, okay, full disclosure, people, I couldn't find mine for this race. I found a whole bunch of other ones that was telling you guys about my weight and everything else about me, but this one I made up based on my memory. So this is a dramatic reinterpretation. How's that? But this is what it kind of looked like. I'd wake up at the beginning, so this is maybe a year earlier. I'd go for a couple-hour run. I'd wake up the next day. Okay, I'm feeling good. Okay, I can push it. And every week you just push it harder and harder and harder. And I was doing really good, right? Up to 10, up to 12 months, I was doing really good. My body was getting fitter. I was recovering well. I could keep pushing harder, recover well, push harder again, recover well, until that moment in the 12th month, the wheels started to come off. Like fundamentally come off. Months before a race, I can't have that. Can you throw it back up for me? Any idea what happened on that month? I was driving to work and my dad called and said, your mom's died. I don't tell you that because of the emotion of it. I tell you that because I want to show you what emotion does to your bodies. I was measuring every part of my body that whole time. And the day my mom died, the day I got that call, I couldn't recover anymore. My body couldn't physically recover anymore. The same amount of rest, the same amount of days off, it wouldn't work. My heart rate was elevated, my body wasn't recovering. I couldn't get it back. And I learned something beautiful and scary and fundamental that I think we all need to understand. Our emotional life and our physical life are fundamentally tied together. If we try and separate those, we fundamentally lose the core concepts of self-care. When I felt stress, when I felt grief and sadness, when I went through the stress of trying to plan a funeral for my mom, I physically couldn't train as hard. It took me months to get back. Months. So here's what I want to ask. Where does your emotional life, where do you feel it in your bodies? Where do you feel it in your physical selves? If you're wondering what I mean, allow me to show you. In about 2 minutes, I'm going to ask one of you guys to come up, and I'm going to interview you here live. So just give me a minute, and I'm going to ask you to come up on stage. We're going to put a mic on you, and then I'm going to interview you guys, and it's going to be recorded and streamed to hundreds of people, listened to probably thousands of people. Anyone feeling a little nervous right now? Anyone feel the weird feeling that I kind of need to go to the bathroom? Emotional life impacting your physical life, right? When we don't see this, we feel like things like, oh, my stomach's upset. I must be sick. Yeah, probably you are. Or it could be the profound stress you're feeling right now is showing up here in your body. And so let me ask again, where does your emotional life show up in your physical life? You ever have an experience where you call someone you love and they literally say, hi, And your first answer is, what's wrong? You can actually hear their emotional life in their voice. I'm a public speaker, so I went to a voice coach. Half an hour into the session, he's like, "You're angry." I'm like, "Screw you, I'm not." He keeps going, "No, you're angry." And I'm like, "I am not freaking angry, although I'm getting angry now." And then he says, hold on a second. He says, so this is back before COVID when you could touch somebody. He puts his hands behind my jaw and then just tries to tear my jaw off my face. It was the most excruciating thing I've experienced. You know what I realized? When I'm frustrated, when I need to give something an extra push, I clench my jaw. And after 48 years of doing that, funny, my jaw is kind of locked up. And so when I kind of talk without moving my jaw because it's always locked up and I'm always frustrated. My frustration shows up here. I literally take moments and feel where my jaw is in my mouth. I go like this. Oh yeah, I'm pushing too hard. I can feel it here. Let's try this. Everyone take a deep breath. Let your shoulders drop as you breathe out. Anyone feel tension up there? How about the hunched over posture? The universal posture that life is beating me down. Where does your your emotional life show up in your physical body? And once we get that in our heads, once we realize that, oh wait, these pains that I'm feeling, this funny sensation, this tension, this whatever it is, my voice sounding crazy, my wife, she'll actually say to me, "Sir, what's up with your voice?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Right? Because I have so much stress in my life that now my throat's locked up. And she's like, "Dude," like, "Hold on a second." "Hey babe, how's it going?" And she's like, "There we go." That's the beauty of the story of the disciples. Profound stress, third bowl's drained. Simon Peter says, "I'm going fishing," because he realizes that just like his emotional life impacts his physical self can impact his emotional self. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? At a time when we're probably the most restricted from physicality that we've ever been. My gym's closed. My climbing gym's closed. I'm not supposed to meet with people outside. I'm not supposed to be walking around a whole lot. You don't think that that's tied into our emotional selves? So if our emotional selves impacts our physical selves, and if we think that Simon Peter's got some gold there, fishing, I am stressed to the nines, I'm going fishing. What is fishing? First, most boring sport ever. Maybe second to golf, I'm not sure. Didn't Jeff say that golf was the most relaxing thing ever for him? Apologies, Jeff, my bad. Doesn't have any of the things that I need to relax, and you'll understand why in a few minutes. Fishing is this. And then you wait. Nothing happens. You're bobbing in a boat in a rhythmic way. Now and again, you do this. Maybe in a couple hours, something happens and you quickly reel something in and you have a moment of excitement, and then you're back to bobbing in the boat, doing this. There's something about bobbing in a boat doing this that Simon Peter realizes is the very thing he needs to deal with his hopelessness. I looked at physical self-care when I started working on this message, and I heard this hilarious quote that said, "Most burnout," can you throw that up for me? "Most likely your exhaustion is probably linked to too much or to too little physical activity." Does anyone think that's the most useless quote you've ever heard? Whatever you're doing, it's wrong. That's what you need to know. When I first started thinking about physical self-care, I thought naps, go for a run, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized most of us understand physical self-care in a caloric sense. Energy in, energy out. I had a busy day, I'm going to sleep in. I've been going hard, I'm going to eat better. We understand that. That's easy. What we're not good at, or at least what I'm not good at, is understanding the connection between our physical selves and our emotional energy, those bowls. We don't quite know how to recharge ourselves with physicality because we're either doing too much or too little. And so today I want to teach you, as I end this message, I want to teach you something pretty profound about your physical selves as it relates to recharge. Because, again, that quote seemed really unhelpful, but as I spent weeks studying it, I realized there's actually something profound in it. You see, our body has two nervous systems, kind of. Let's just, for simplicity's sake, there's two major nervous systems, our sympathetic and our parasympathetic. A sympathetic nervous system is the activation. When you've binged Netflix for 3 days straight and you feel like a big turd on the couch, you're lacking the activation part of your life. It's called fight or flight, but it's the wrong way of looking at it. It's better to look at it as the part that gets you going, gets you moving, gets you off the couch. And for some of us right now, that sympathetic nervous system is basically sleeping in the corner someplace. Because we don't have the things that can fire us up. Others of us, that activation energy is through the roof. We're trying to take care of family members who are sick. We're trying to homeschool our kids. We're trying to figure out how to stay healthy and active, meanwhile not losing our business, meanwhile dealing with the whole change in the pandemic and everything's different. Another part of our nervous system is the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the chill out portion. It's kind of nice. I call it rest and digest. It's why when I told you I'm going to interview you on stage, you felt like you wanted to go to the bathroom. Because the opposite of digest is evacuate. It's colloquially called the nervous shits. It's your body going, we have no time to digest, so let's just dump that sucker and we're going to get going here, right? Lighten the load. So let me ask you, as you engage in your self-awareness through this series, which part of your nervous system is running the show mostly? Is it the part that's activated all the time? Go, 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 list, get this done, I gotta move this, take care of that, I gotta do this, what about that? Well, this list over here, and I gotta clean this, and I gotta do that. And this. Or is it the other side? The turning, I call it the turning down the wick. You know those old style lamps? You turn down the wick to the point where there's almost nothing there. There's almost no life left. You're sleeping through life. You're watching TV through life. You're stuck in home doing nothing. Where are you right now? I told you guys when I started this series, I was tired. The Christmas push coming up to Christmas, I was tired. I'd been on activation for weeks and months. I'd burned through bowl 1, bowl 2 was rapidly gone. Starting to stick my toe in bowl 3, thinking, oh, that'll be nice, I'll just fryer that. My activation energy was through the roof. I couldn't calm down. And here's the thing that we think of. We think of our two nervous systems as kind of like we're mostly in the chill out phase until we see a tiger or a bear, and then we fire the activation phase, right? That's how it should work. But that's not how it works at all. And that's the piece that I want to show you today about how your physicality can impact the emotional recharge of your life. Because if you understand how your nervous system works, you can actually do the work to recharge yourself more quickly. You can find the energy to become whole again, if you're willing. It's interesting. I started just learning this recently as I tried to figure out how to recharge myself. I always thought, again, I'm supposed to chill until a bear shows up. That's how it works. But the way your nervous system works is every breath that you take is a trade-off between your two nervous systems. So try it. Take a deep breath in. That's your activation system kicking in right there. Breathe out slowly, not too loud unless you're wearing a mask. That's your chill system kicking in. Every breath is a balance between the activation of our life and the calming of our life. There's this thing called heart rate variability that measures that. How well your nervous systems are working, which one's taking over, which one needs to chill out, which one do you rely on? It showed me I was firing on the activation, and you know how you can tell? The intake of your breath, it's all about the intake. What do you do when a bear jumps out in front of you or something scary in a movie happens? You can feel it, right? You suck it in. When you feel the stress of your life, what do? You sigh, you go like this. It's your body's way of saying, we need to calm down here, folks. Do you see how our systems work? As we breathe in, activation. As we breathe out, relaxation. When we're healthy, those go back and forth in a beautiful dance. When we're not healthy, one of them holds on too long. One of them tries to take the lead. Thinking of the song, Come Dance With Me, I was like, yeah, it's a dance. So here's what I want to do as we end today. I want to teach you guys how to fire up different parts of your nervous system so that you can rebalance. And if you can rebalance, that will go back to the recharge of your bowls because it's the unbalance that's draining those bowls. So if you're open to it, I'm going to do a bunch of stuff that's a bit weird. You guys cool with that? If you have a mask and you want to, can I encourage you to put on your mask because I am well outside of public, or I'm on the gray area of public policy here. So yeah, if you don't mind putting on your masks. So here, the first thing I want to do is this. I want to teach you guys how to activate yourself. So this is when you're sitting on the couch and you're not doing anything and it's not working, like the 3 hours of Netflix you just watched isn't making you feel better. You still feel like a big piece of crap. Here's what you can do to shift that, to get yourself moving, to do the, again, you're in that, I haven't moved enough, I need to move. What you do is you use an activation breath. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to fire up our sympathetic nervous system by getting us activated. Ready to try it? I want you to take 30 breaths with me. So we're going to breathe together. I'm going to get you to synchronize with my breath. We're not going to go too fast. I'm going to warm you up a little bit. And at the end, we're going to take a deep breath in, hold it, and then as you hear me breathe out, we're going to let it all out. We're going to do it again. 3 times. Ready? So, kind of like a panting breath. So more like you see a dog, not like to cool itself, but that's the kind of breath I want. So, breathe with me. We're going to count to 30. Ready? Anyone feel a little head rushy all of a sudden? See how it fires up your nervous system? Let's try it again. We're going to breathe a little quicker. Ready? you feel the activation kicking in? That's that activating nervous system going, whoa, 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 what's going on? I feel like going for a run all of a sudden. My hands are kind of tingly. Let's try it once more. Give it everything you got. Ready? Check in with your body. What does it feel like right now? I keep wanting to move. Next time you're sitting on the couch and you feel like a big piece of poo, and the next hour of Netflix is not going to help you, try that. When you're napping, not because you're tired, but because you don't know what else to do and you're just turning down the wick of your life, try that. The next time you're about to have a conversation with someone you love, and it's a conversation you need, but you don't want it. So you want to turn down the wick and just not have it. Take 20 seconds, take 30 seconds, do that breath. Have the moment. What you'll find is if the wick's turned down in your life, this starts to turn it back on. Cause of burnout, too little activity. This is us firing up the activation system to get us moving. Can you feel it? Okay, now just to take your nervous systems on a frickin' roller coaster ride, I want to calm your nervous system down, right? We've done the activation breath. Now there's a calming breath. In activation, we look at the inhale. That's why I had you guys, right? You could feel it. You're pulling in air like you're not used to. In calming, we focus on the exhale. So if you're open to it, close your eyes. This is the part where all the nice people on podcasts will tell you that if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. My personal opinion is if you're driving and you close your eyes and you crash, there's a Darwin Award in there someplace. So if it's safe, close your eyes. Here's what I want you to do. Put your hand on the lowest part of your belly. If you're wearing high-waisted jeans, this is below your button. If you're wearing low-waisted jeans, this is below your belly button. Now take a deep breath in and push that hand out. Keep breathing, nice and slow. We're playing with the vagal nerve system it's the very thing that made you want to go to the bathroom when I said I'm going to interview you. We're just going to push it the other way. As we breathe deep into our bellies, what it does is it sends calm to our brains. Now the key here is in the exhale of the breath. So I want you to breathe in and try and slow down the exhale a little bit. Keep breathing. As you breathe out, just let the tension slide out of your body. Feel it drain out. Now the final piece of this, we keep the exhale slower than the inhale. If you can, take a deep breath in. Slowly exhale. As you exhale all your air, take a pause before you breathe in again. By the energy in the room, you guys have now activated your relaxed portion of your nervous system. keep breathing, don't stop. For the overachievers, for the overwhelmed, for the stressed, this is your breath. Start the day with this breath. If you feel yourself overwhelmed, take a moment, breathe, slow exhale till you can pause before you take a breath. Feel that nervous system kick in and be like, I'd encourage you to keep your eyes closed. I have a special treat for you. I don't know which bowl you're in these days. I don't know how deep you've had to dig to deal with your life right now. I don't know what's been thrown at you, what things you didn't choose. I don't know if you have good coping strategies or if your coping strategies are a little soft like mine. But if you're buying what I'm saying today, our emotions are felt and impact our physicality. But there's a beauty in that because we can always go fishing. But knowing what activity to do, that's the key. Could you feel it as Alessandra sang? There was moments in that song that were activating. You could feel it firing you up. I could feel it. I was sitting there and I was like, oh, wow. And there's moments where she brings it down and it just feels so calming. You now have the tools to do the things in your physicality that can recharge your emotional life, if you're willing to use them. If you need to turn the wick up, you need to get your life going, you need to start doing things, start the morning with that breath. Activate yourself. Listen to music that fires you up. That's a big one for me. I have a whole playlist that's like, get your ass moving, Clausen. Fires me up. Many of us, the type A's among us, the overachievers, the people who feel stress, that feel the pain of other people around them, we need to turn it down. And you now know how to do that too. The focus is on the exhale. Until you can breathe out slowly. You can feel that part of your nervous system kick in and calm. We exist here at Friend Church to inspire you to make your worlds a better place. But we need to do it to take care of ourselves first. If there's nothing in the tank, we're just going to burn out. And so my prayer for you today is this. Use yourself, your physicality, to recharge yourself. Do what you need to do to find energy and hope and recharge again. Amen. Next week, Jeff's up. He's going to talk about the social recharge. It's going to be fantastic, because Jeff's always fantastic. Have a great week, everybody. Have a beautiful time of breathing, and we'll see you next week.